Okay, so what I want to do is build a few rings over the next couple of videos, starting off with simple solitaire and then working up maybe a little bit from there. So let's start. This first one isn't going to be strictly surface modeling. It's going to be the simplest one. We're just going to build a solitaire with a flat shank. And this is how I would go about it. So we'll start with a ring rail, tools, ring rail, and let's go to small finger, size 5.5, and let's build a ring for a 1 carat stone. So under gems, gem loader, choose your shape, and choose your size. 1 carat is 6.5. I'm going to move, I'm just going to change this color. I'm going to move this up till the table's about 6.5 millimeters, somewhere around there, above the finger rail. And we can select this and then hit F6 and bring out head builder. I almost never use 2 rails. Just go with 1. And I like, if you click on, in the little box here, if you click on the rail, you'll come up with a bunch of shapes. And somewhere in here should be square. There we go. Choose that one. Pull this down a little bit. I just want it to go through the, I want to make sure it goes through the finger rail. And I'll increase the height just a little bit. So under level 1, the size of the prong for a 1 carat, we would use a 1.1 millimeter. That sounds great. Prong nudge is, for this size of stone, is usually, I usually use about 0.3. And you can see what happens here. It brings it in, so it's just covering up a bit of the stone. You're at about 1/3 of the prong. You don't want to go too far because then you're cutting out way too much metal and it weakens the prong. You don't want to keep it out too far either because then it doesn't lock the stone in nicely. That looks pretty good. If you go to the second level of control, you can choose the rail, and we're going to increase the height up to just a little bit below the stone. Say about that. And where are we here? Go back to level 1 for a second. Is that nice? This is just all eyeballing it, just to see what looks nice. I guess that's a reasonably nice taper. I don't like the rail though. Go back to level 2 again. Okay. The rail width doesn't need to be 1.1. 1's fine. And hit enter. The height I've already determined. The offset for the rail is not 0.3, it's 0. There we go, that's better. It's just, I don't want it to come past the stone here. So the rail's just coming up just to the girdle of the stone. That's fine. And the rail drop is fine. That's good. Hit enter. We'll save this in a job bag. I'm going to chop this up in a bit. Okay. Now for the shank. You can take a million ways to do this. This is just how I usually go about it. You can take the ring rail, go to the curve menu, go to offset, and I usually use 1.7 on the bottom. You take this, split it, and turn on quad snap, because you're going to split it at the end here, and you're going to split it at the quad, and hit enter, and just get rid of this piece that you don't need. We're just going to work on this half of the ring. As far as metal thickness goes, I'm building this ring to cast it. I'm not building this ring for specifically for a rendering. It's not going on a catalog or anything like that. It's going to go to casting. So all the measurements and everything that I'm talking about here have got to do with something going to casting, coming back out, and then I've got to clean this thing up, put it together, polish it. So the 1.7 millimeters on the bottom is kind of the default metal thickness that I use. We make an assumption that after grind and polish, you're going to lose about 0.1 millimeter from every dimension. That may be just a little bit generous, but it gives you a little bit of wiggle room just so that things don't get too thin. Okay, so 1.7 here. I think rings look better if they have a little bit of a taper going up. So I would just, this is just to give me a ballpark here, 1.9. It's usually what I use. Click on this curve and go to control points. Grab that control point and move from there to there. And hit escape. Don't need that anymore. And the second part of this shank, go to arc direction from here. And where do we want this thing to go? And I'm going to go past. Actually, I'm going to turn off my snaps just for a moment here. I don't want to go above the setting here, but I want to go close to it. But I do want to go past the setting, and you'll see why in a little bit, because I want to use the setting as a cutter. So I'm just going to pop in there and bring it out and hold down Shift so that this is tangent down here. I guess that's okay. This could come down a bit. Click it, control points again, and you can manipulate this as much as you want. Maybe down a bit. Maybe this guy comes down a bit too. Hit escape. That looks okay. Select those two, join them. I want to take this, oops, I want to take this curve and this curve, and I want to mirror it to the other side, and we can join this together, join, and now I can do an arc direction from F4. And from, and all the way around. Oops, all the way around to end. And we can take the red and join it. Join. Just going to throw this in a job bag. So now we can take the red and choose a layer. We can go to solid, and we can go extrude both sides. And this value for the width, you can either you can punch in a number up here if you want, or you can just eyeball it. Obviously this is going to make a straight shank with no taper, but if the ring you want does have a taper, we can also put that in. Usually up at the top you wouldn't go too much past the claws, so let's bring it in just a little bit. Don't want it too thick either. Maybe say there. There's your basic shape, your basic shank. Save it. Now, to chop this thing apart a little bit, don't need the red anymore. Take this curve and once again offset. Say 1.25. Green. That's going to be the bottom gallery. And then we can take, let's see, I need this curve. I need this curve here, and I only want one of them. I'll just split it here, and here is fine. Take this curve, and we're going to offset this one as well. And depending if you're going to put stones on the top here or not, that will maybe change how thick you want it. Maybe 1.5 looks okay. Put that in, press enter. Might be a bit too thick. Might be okay. We'll leave it at that. We can mirror this to the other side. And then we can join this with the line from end to end. Now, I never leave cutouts like this coming down into a sort of infinitely small point. Once this is cast, you're not going to get a saw blade in there to clean up. You're not going to get emery in there or anything like that to be able to clean up. Your finest saw blade is the 8.0, and it's about 0.15, say 0.2 millimeters. Usually I put a little radius in here. I usually make it just 0.3. It seems to work fine. Easy enough to do. Go to curve, circle, and up in the top here, tangent. Choose the two lines that you want the circle to be tangent to, which is this guy and this guy, and then just punch in your radius, 0.15, enter, and then just left click, and there's your little radius. We're going to mirror that to the other side. And then we're going to select all these curves, and we're going to trim, get rid of all the stuff we don't need. And enter. And then we can get rid of these guys. And we can join this all up. Join. We have a closed curve. We don't need that either. Before I do any cutting or anything, I'll just save this guy again. And we're also going to need to ungroup the head, and that I just type that, ungroup, and enter, because we don't want to chop up the claws. And we could put these guys on a different color just to help us out here. We can turn those off for the time being. And then I want this, the top head, I don't actually want it to be like this cutout that we're going to use here. So I'm just going to draw a line both sides just from here, and I'm going to offset that, say 1.5, see what that looks like. So I'm just going to take this part of the head and I'm going to split it. Actually, I'm not going to split it. I'm going to take this curve and I'm going to take this curve and I'm going to extrude them. So under surface, extrude, straight. And you'll see when I'm going to turn off the green, turn off the stone for a second. I'm just going to use these as cutters. So I'm going to split the head, enter, with my two cutters, enter, and then we can that gets rid of that, but I didn't. I want another. I need another one. I forgot to move this one out. Where's that finger? There we go. We're going to offset this one 1.25 and enter. It's the same as the bridge here. I'm going to extrude this guy too, straight. Okay, that's better. I'm going to split this guy, enter, with this one, enter. Okay, now we can get rid of what we don't want, which is not that. I have to split this one as well. Split this guy, enter, with this one, enter. There we go, get rid of that. And now we can split this surface, and this surface, enter with the purple, the remaining head, enter, and then that will give us our closed, just deleting everything I don't need. And then we can take these surfaces and the purple and join. And we have 6 surfaces joined into 2 poly surfaces. Put it on heads again. Now we don't need this stuff. Let's bring everything back. Save it. Okay. Now we can cut out the part of the shank that we don't want. We can take this, and this we can cut out as a solid. So we can go to solid, extrude, both sides, yes. Let's put this on cutting. Just as long as it goes past the shank, that's fine. And we're just using this to cut the shank material with the green, not the head or the claws. So we can come over here to cutters, Boolean builder. You're the cutter. And you're the object getting cut. Do Boolean. And there we go. That thins it down nicely. After all that, let's save this. Now we've got, just turn off that for a second. We have the shank coming through here, obviously, and it's also going past this cutout. Easy enough to fix up. Let's just go to curve. We've got circle up here, F4, and it just needs to go in just a little bit. Just as long as these things are buried in each other, it doesn't really matter. There's this guy. Up to past here. And we can take that and go to our extrude. Oh, wrong one. Go to that. Solid. And go to extrude all. And let's go tapered. And we might want this. This is 5. Let's go to 7.5. So you can change the angle of this taper. Up here under draft angle, I'll go to see what 7 looks like. So I've just hit it and hit enter. And I just want to make sure it's leaving these things buried in each other. That's the only thing that really matters. We can go a little bit more. We could go to 9, I guess. That's fine. Take a look and make sure that's actually going all the way through. Get rid of the green for a sec. Yeah, that's good. So now we can take the cutter and the shank and do the Boolean operation. And there we go. Bring back the stone. Let's save this for job bag. Now, if you want to have a tapered shank using this method, really easy. Just grab a curve, straight line. Again, project on. And you want to come from, say that you want this to be the overall width here. We can go to both sides and then come down. And how much of a taper do you want? Go to 2 millimeters, approximately. That looks good. Take this, put it on red. You can extrude this as a surface, extrude, straight. And if it doesn't know where you want it to go, not a problem. Just click on direction and hit F4, and then you're just going to tell it what direction it's going in. We can take a look and see if this is all right. That looks pretty good. That's nice. Mirror that to the other side. Let's split the green. Enter with your 2 surfaces. Enter. Get rid of the bit you don't need. And then split the 2 surfaces. Enter with your shank. Enter. Get rid of what you don't need. And join it back up. Join. And put it back on green. Don't need that anymore. Job bag. So this is the easiest way that I know of to just do, if it's a flat shank, there's no detail on the top surface here, and there's not a lot of curving going on the sides either. This is about the easiest way I can think of to do this. The next thing we need to do, though, is that this would never go out for casting like this. For me, it's very hard to clean up in here. Also, cast claws are, I don't think anyways, are ever as good as a hand-drawn, hand-wired claws. So at the very least, I would be making these claws and putting them on after it's all been cast up and cleaned. And I'm just going to go now and show you what we would do to get this ring ready for casting. And this is why I've left these claws long, by the way. Obviously not good for the rendering. Okay, so first thing, we're going to take these claws and they're going to become a cutter, and then the head and the shank are going to become the object's cut, but I want to keep these cutters just for the time being. So just click that and then do Boolean. And that worked, even though it gave me, Matrix 8 does this sometimes. It gives me back things that I've deleted when I do a Boolean difference occasionally. I'm not sure why, but that's fine. So this is a great thing about having the program to do this kind of thing, is that from a jeweler standpoint, when you get this back from casting, you know exactly where these claws are supposed to go. They're evenly spaced, and also the distance that they're supposed to be, that distance there to actually be able to set the stone and keep the claw nice and straight and everything, it's all basically given to you, and all you need to do is do a little bit of cleanup. It really makes the job easy. I love it. Now the other thing that I usually do is this head is going to come off. It's sticking out a little bit here, but I don't think that matters. So we're going to take this, and it's going to become a cutter, and then once again the shank is the object cut, and we are going to keep this cutter. Do Boolean. Now, there it is back again. Now, let's turn off the purple for a second. Yeah, we've got a little bit of junk right here. These are just little bits that were sticking out. We don't need these. I'm going to save this. And one more thing to do. Turn off this. We're going to just put a lock in. Normally use just the sphere, so sorry, under solids, sphere, on cutting, I guess. It's going to go right somewhere in here, right here. I usually use somewhere between 0.5 and 0.8, 0.7, see how that looks. Just turn off the purple for a second. We just have to move this a bit. Where does he go? He goes back here. So. And mirror him to the other side. I just want to make sure, and I'm going to turn off the green and turn back the head just to make sure he's connecting in there nicely. And one more Boolean operation. So my two little spheres are the cutters. And this guy is the object cut. Do Boolean. One went away, one stayed. Turn this off, make sure you cut both of them. He did. Don't know why I lost one. That doesn't matter. Just mirror that to the other side. So the whole idea here is that this, I'll change colors here. This and the shank are going to be one piece. This is going to be a separate piece, like so. And actually these guys are part of the shank. So that when they're casted and cleaned up, this just makes it really easy to clean everything up. You can lap this And you can get soft end brushes in here. You can get files and emery paper in here. This isn't the greatest in the world, but that's not a problem. This will clean up really, really nicely. And once it is all pre-polished, then you can put this guy together, and these little balls here, all they do is they just lock in nicely here, once again to give yourself positioning, so that the claws will line up properly as well. So it will snap together, and it will end up being like this. I will save this one more time. So what goes out to casting is the finger rail, not the stone, not the claws. And this head gets casted as a separate piece, and then all the other curves get deleted. And the finger rail comes back. So this is for this for an order like this. This is what would actually go out to casting. Hope that was helpful. Thanks.